And a good Thursday and happy Virginia Derby week to you. I'm Jason Beem, track announcer. Merv Huber-Calvo, our track analyst. Do you prefer analyst or handicapper?
I think analyst.
Yeah. Analyst, okay. Yeah, you're a paddock talker guy. You like to look how they're looking. That's not
more professional.
That's not a handicapping so much thing. I mean, it is, but it's not. I feel like handicapping, everybody thinks paper and pen.
Yeah. Well, when I did my LinkedIn profile, I went with analyst, so that must be my preference.
That's what it's official, right? I know, it's funny. I put this on my LinkedIn, and it boots it right to the top, because whatever you put most recent, I'm like, well, that's not my full-time thing. Get back down there, but I can't figure out how to get it, so.
Yeah, everyone was congratulating me on the new job.
Yeah. And you're
Why
like,
are you leaving?
Yeah,
No,
I'm not leaving.
No.
Anyways, Murph, we got 9 races tonight, Thursday night. We got 10 Friday. Our 2 steeplechase races moved up because Saturday is the big day. Virginia Derby and Virginia Oaks. Field of 9 in both. Your morning lines out. Any early impressions? I haven't looked at the race a lot yet. I'm going to look at it tomorrow.
They're both good races, very competitive.
Right.
It was really tough to decide between a couple horses as the favorite in the Virginia Derby.
Joe Sharp's horse and Graham's horse.
Right, English B, yeah.
And
I was texting you, thinking which way should I go? Ended up with English B as the 5-2 morning line favorite in the Derby, and then the undefeated filly in the Oaks also made her 5-2.
Okay. Well, we'll talk more about that, of course, on Saturday's show. But Friday, monster fields.
Yeah,
Friday's card is
at even money.
doozy.
You calling your first 14-horse field here?
Yeah.
Because there's 4 chances for it to
Four
happen.
14-horse fields pre-scratches.
Mm-hmm.
So far, all of our 14s have scratched down to 12 or 13. A couple times down to 10. So we're going to get one of them soon. Hopefully, when we have it, it is daylight.
Friday's the day. Yeah.
Hopefully, it's one of the earlier ones so I can see them. Let's get into this Thursday card, Merv. We were just noting the rails not all the way in, but mostly in. I think 14 feet for the inner, but pretty close to what we saw opening weekend here, and starting to get a little bit of a worn path down toward the inside. We'll have to watch how that kind of plays and whether it's just the grass changing color. Because I mean, obviously, we're using it 6 times a night, and then 2 maybe on the outer, and sometimes more than 6 times on the inner. So the inner turf definitely getting more work.
Yeah, and because we film these a day or 2 ahead of time, it's hard to spot a trend one weekend and then to handicap for the upcoming weekend, not knowing how it's going to play when the rail is not where it was.
That's why it's important to actually watch the paddock, because we've had a number of times where you're kind of like, hey, this is who I talked about in my pick, but I kind of like that one. And we said at the first show we did here, the weakness of the beauty of doing this show in advance is you can watch it whenever. But the weakness of any pre-show or pre-picks, and that's for everybody, is that odds and weather conditions and just paddock stuff, that all happens in real time.
Right.
So you got to be nimble in this game. Let's kick off the Thursday card, Merv, our first race on the inner track at a mile, which what I would say probably has been our most common race.
Yeah, definitely. I thought this was a good little maiden race.
It is. There's some nice horses in here,
Yeah, good 8-horse field here. I landed on the 4 North Dakota in here, which I was hoping to get a little value on because he's been away from the races for 11 months.
Mm-hmm.
Last seen it at Belmont. He's only run once, but I thought that was kind of a deceptively good effort. Got off to kind of a slow start, was passing some tired horses, but he had the highest brisk speed figure last race in there.
And some good horses in that race, Empire of War, amongst others. And so, it's fun. We saw a previously trained by Chad Brown last week, and the horse took a lot of money. And so I'm wondering if this will be the same going to Shug.
Well, and I've told you, I'm trying to take stands against these New York shippers when I can because I've seen them all come in and burn money. But with this one, I'm really actually hoping to get some value on because there's a couple others that I think will take some money.
Well, we know the 5 Rock on Kitten's going to take some money. We've seen the Dars folks and Brendan Walsh get off to a pretty good start here. They're taking the blinkers off on this horse. It was claimed last time for $50,000 and now jumps up, but had been pretty competitive against Maiden Special at Fairgrounds, and so I can see why this one will take some dough.
Yeah,
Trevor.
Good speed figures for this one. I'll be interested to see kind of what the blinkers off means for this one pace-wise, because I thought there was a lot of early speed in this race, of which his race in recent races would indicate that he'd be a factor. But maybe without those blinkers, he can settle off it just a little bit, and I think he'll have to if he's going to want to.
Well, it looks like the 3 Lucky Mike is the speed, right? Or at least
I thought he was the fastest speed, but I thought that Rock on Kitten would go kind of right with him. Actually, I thought the fastest speed was on the outside. Maybe Contractor Billy's coming in off those 5.5 furlong races at Ellis. He wasn't on the lead in those, but those were pretty fast fractions up front.
And he's going 22 and change, just being 3 lengths behind him. So, and on the outside, maybe that maybe they're incentivized to try to send to get over before the turn, because the 1 mile races here, it's about a 3/16 of a mile run to the turn before you start. So you do have some time, but you definitely want to try to get over before you're going right into that turn. What about speed ahead? Because this horse was not loving life going into the gate last time, and I distinctly remember that one. Got in the gate, then just broke toward the back and was kind of far back, but did take a little bit of money that day at 9-1, and I just thought one that might get some attention. And Richard Boucher's done really well so far this meet.
Yeah, I'm trying to go on a mission to find out if he's the first jockey here to win a jump race and a flat race on the same day. See if that's ever happened here before.
Well, certainly is in the brand new era of Colonial Downs. Merv, your picks for the first race?
I went 4, 5, 3 in here, but I liked that 7 speed ahead a little bit in there. It was kind of a pedigree play for me last time. I know he's coming out of a stake bred race into opens, but I thought maybe as a value play he made sense.
The second race on the card, we're maiden specialing again. We're at a mile again, and this race for the 2-year-old fillies, Michael Stidham with Love Beach, who he paid a pretty good price for, and also with Dark Lightning, who they paid $310,000 for. He's got 2 expensive debuters in here. Yeah.
So some of the races on this card and on Friday's card are kind of repeat races that we did on Thursday of last week when they got canceled. So if it feels like deja vu, that's why. A lot of these were entered in that race in here. I picked Dark Lightning. That time I'm going to stick with her. Pedigree Angle. She's a half-2 Chocolate Ride, who's a graded stakes winner on the turf, and also a half-2 Killer Graces, who is a grade 1 winner as a 2-year-old. So she's kind of got that turf angle and the precocity angle as a 2-year-old. So I'll go with her, hoping to get a little bit of a price. You had mentioned that I made her stablemate Love Beach just a tick lower. And I did that because I thought her workout.
Did you keep the morning lines pretty much the same?
Yeah, very similar. Right. Very similar. There were some less horses than had to rebalance it, but for the most part, this race in particular, it was most of the same horses.
The one La Babia, we talked about. I mean, like you said, I feel like we're talking about things we talked about on last Thursday's show, but and we are. But I remember mentioning that Michael Matz doesn't win a ton first time out or first time on turf, but he's positive ROI on both. He will bring a price horse every once in a while from on the grass, and Bayern, this horse looks okay, at least through the works.
Yeah, and she's got a good pedigree. Her dam's a half-2 Somali Lemonade, who is a graded stakes winner at 2 on the turf.
Yeah, I really loved the debut of the second time, the local debut of Belle Reeve here. Kind of got shuffled back going down the backstretch and still made a little bit of a rally to get within 3.5 lengths. And that Mun Passage race came back really strong on the speed figure standpoint. Mun Passage is in Saturday in one of the stakes races. We're not seeing him Bolden back, right?
No, and Bolden's not back.
Yeah, a little bummed about that. But I thought it was a pretty decent race for Belle Reeve, so I'm excited to see if that one can keep up. The Glen Hill horse, 3-side story. I feel like we've seen a few Glen Hill horses entered, but we haven't seen one run yet.
Yeah, well, and she was well bet in her debut, right? Didn't really run a step and finished behind Secure Connection, who I think the 7 Secure Connection is actually the one that's likely to go off favorite. I think she'll take the most money off the strength of that good effort last time out, where she was beaten less than a length, and the 3rd place finisher came back to win next out.
People love them some Shug.
Yeah, and they love horses coming in from Laurel. Those have been very potent.
I feel like Shug has maybe had a number of scratches too, because I feel like we've seen his silks and name way more than 4 times.
Well, they always take money. They're always taking money.
Your picks for race 2, Merv?
I went 8, 7, 1.
All right, race number 3. We're on to the main track, 7 furlongs, and an entry down on the inside who I believe you made favorite, and I think that's off the strength of the plain one, not so much the 1A.
Yes.
But one of those good situations where the entries are kind of opposite styles, but there's a fair bit of speed in here.
Yeah, well, I was trying to look back and see, how's the dirt been playing? Well, we haven't actually had a dirt race since August the 17th. It's been a couple weeks. We didn't have any last weekend, but there was a ton of speed.
And when we did have one, I was dead right about the inside bias.
And speed was winning, right?
It started
on the last
day.
Yeah. Mr. Jägermeister. There was another
John
one.
Jones.
Yeah, John Jones in here. Which is worth noting because I went with the 3 in here, Divine Interventio.
Yeah.
Which is another Lacey Gaudette trainee. She had John Jones in there, broke the track record. What I liked about this horse was that you said there's a bunch of speed in here. Mm-hmm. Well, he's a deep closer, right? I think that if there is a pace meltdown, he could really benefit.
Yeah, I'm always a little hesitant with deep closers just back to back, because it's like they do have to have a number of things go their way. I mean, they went pretty hot last time in front of this horse at 6.5, but with as much speed as there is in here, and I just feel like with these big turns, I feel like a lot of riders are moving a little bit early, and the ones who are patient, because this is a long stretch too. It's not, Belmont, they have those huge turns, but the stretch isn't that long. In fact, I think It might even be shorter than Aqueduct, but it's not. I mean, it's not a quarter mile. The quarter pole, they're still turning, and so here that's not the case. You straighten out and you're at the quarter pole, and so I almost wonder if some of these guys just get going a little too soon. So I think that's helped some of these off the pace types. But
I tried to isolate just his races where there were 6.5 and 7 furlongs, because sometimes he runs longer and sometimes he runs shorter. And if you just hone in on that distance, he's really consistent. Actually, he's won his last 3.
Yeah. Well, the one Whatever You Want has just been crushing in those starter allowance type races. I mean, at various levels too, and a little bit of an all or nothing type, but a couple tough defeats. I mean, just a very honest horse. I mean, made 340,000.
Yeah. On the other end of the spectrum, I did know that he was going to love the 7 furlong distance, right? Because you don't see one for a while. He's been running at 5.5 furlongs. Like we said, there's tons of speed in here. He's probably the fastest of them. I circled several 21 changes that he's run off recently. So I do think he will go off favorite, though. So I thought I would take a stand against
What about
him.
Bel Tapissiere? We saw Bel Tapissiere here on the grass, which is not necessarily...
He doesn't love grass.
No, he's 0 for 3. He's never hit the board. And, Mock Tree was that race where that horse came flying up the inside to win. And so it was a little bit of a fall apart, but... he was off the pace. I mean, if it was going to fall apart, he should have maybe been running. But that's just not his game. He was claimed for 50,000, going 7/8 last time. But you go back to, he was claimed as well 3 back for 40 and won. So this is definitely back to his game. But his best races seem to be close up, and there's going to be a lot of company.
Yeah, I thought he could be a pace factor in here too. But I remember seeing him in the paddock that day, and he looked so good.
Yeah.
So I was surprised when he ran so bad, and I just have to think he just doesn't like the turf.
Yeah.
So getting back to the dirt, I'll give him a very big shot in here.
Yeah, Fact of War looks like maybe the forgotten one. I mean, Delaware shippers have been doing okay here, but I mean, 3 wins, and by the way, 3 pretty big wins. At least 2 of them were, and has some speed. He's come from a little off of it before, and so I almost wonder if the shortening up, and that was going long, so I almost wonder if the 7/8 just might smack him right between the eyes and make him a decent play in this one.
Yeah. I'll also look at the price of the 2 Sharp Art in here to see if he takes money, because I thought he was kind of didn't know what he was going to do on the pace. Sometimes he goes to the lead, sometimes he sits off of it, so maybe he's the tactical kind that can kind of take advantage of whatever the pace scenario happens to be.
Pretty good dirt race. Those are some good horses in there. Who do you got for the third race?
I went with the 3, 5, and 1. Hoping to get prices on both the 3 and the 5 too.
Good horses in race number 4 as well. Mile and a 16th on the inner. It's an optional claiming event. Smallish field. I was really impressed with Romantic Moments win last time here. That was Shug's one win of the meet, but came rolling from off the pace, but got pace to run into that day, going 22 and 4:46. And so, while I liked the horse and I liked the effort, I just don't think back-to-back are going to be in this one sights, and there's some good horses in here.
Yeah, well, this is another repeat race that we talked about last Thursday. Actually, 4 of the 6 are Maryland shippers that have kind of been running against each other in their last few starts.
Yeah.
And actually landed on one of them, Frippery, for the kind of the same reason that we discussed last week. I think she's lone speed in here. There's just, I don't think anyone's going to really go with her. And we've seen, or last weekend we saw a couple instances where there was a paceless race and those horses went on to steal it.
Yeah.
There was Rohrbacher who did it, and then also Mutashiba. What is it? Mutashiba. They both went out there, set a dawdling pace, and just kind of stole it. And I thought she's an excellent candidate to do that.
Yeah, this could very much be a jockey's race. I'm real curious to see how this one plays out, because I think all the horses in here have some talent. I mean, even Madam X. I was thinking maybe Madam X wants it to rain because she had that huge win on a yielding course, 2 back at a big upset price. But I don't think any rain is in the forecast.
No, hopefully not.
This is wood on our table here.
I thought that Romantic Moment might actually go off. It has a good chance to go off.
I think you're right.
Favored.
Yep.
Just because of that win, and she's a Belmont shipper. They've been taking money. But also, the 5, how did you say this one? Goyaba?
Yeah.
Goyaba?
I called that horse a monolith.
Yeah, could also go off favorite. I mean, she beat half this field in her last start, but was disqualified in 5th, and she only qualifies for this race because she was disqualified. Otherwise, she wouldn't be in this condition. None of these, even though this is an optional claiming, none of these are actually in for a tag.
The 5th race on the card begins the 12% take-out pick 5. Your picks in race 4 first, though, Merv.
3, 6, 5.
And a unique race. We haven't had one of these yet. A 5 furlong turf sprint on the outer course. We had a 5.5 on the inner.
We did,
which was interesting, and we had
they're changing things on us.
They're throwing some curveballs, but that one was where that race with that Prairie Meadows shipper just went out and roasted them on the front end, won by like 8.5 or something.
Lowered the track record by 7/100ths of a second in there.
Yeah, with the inner, I don't know how they're doing the course record on that. But anyways, so 5 furlongs on the grass and a big field of 12 here. I thought this was kind of a fun one.
Yeah, and I noticed that shortening up from 5.5 to 5 furlongs, and I went with the 5 Iona in here because I thought, well, this is a mare that could really benefit from that. She was a dominant winner a couple weeks ago here at the 10,000 non-winners.
She was dominant at the 16th pole.
Right. Well, that's where she's going to end the race this time, right? We're going to shorten up a 16th. So at that point, she was 6 lengths ahead.
I feel like that's not how it works, Merv.
Well, I thought she was desperate to get to the wire there, so we shortened it up a half furlong, and I think that she will really benefit from that if she can run 2 races like that back to back.
Yeah, I'm real curious how this one sets up because there is some speed in here. I thought the 2 was a little interesting, Princess Kilmaine, just in the sense of this one won last time coming from way off the pace. Prior to that had been pretty close up in turf sprints at Laurel, and so I almost wonder if, with the inside draw, maybe they'll try to get out, but maybe they're not as worried about it. With the fact that it's on the outer course, I feel like it could play a little bit better to off the pace types just because they're not turning as sharply.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this was a race and plus with the turn back to 5, I feel like a lot of the riders are going to be just more aggressive. So I thought it was a race that could set up for somebody to come from off.
I had the same question. My comment was running style.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect, but maybe with same jockey in the irons, maybe he found success. He'll try to do it again. Same thing.
Who did you like in here?
I did like Iona at the 5. That was my top pick. But I also looked at the 10 afar.
Yeah.
Kind of tired last time, led early, tired late. That was going a mile, so she shortens back up to 5 furlongs, and she actually ran pretty good at a higher level, 2 back at Delaware. She was 3rd, just beating 3 lengths at the $16,000 level.
At 94-1.
Yeah, backing
in
up.
In a 7-horse field too. Yeah. There must have been a 1-9 shot in there.
Yeah, I would imagine.
That's the only thing I could think about.
Yeah. But I mean, she kind of woke up with the going to the grass, and she didn't run bad last time. She just tired very late, and that's just, I think, too far for her to go.
Yeah, well, and was kind of having to slug it out, too. They were kind of trading punches up on the front in that race. Flirtation Walk is toward the outside, and I think might be able to be one of the speeds. I mean, this horse was not too far off at 21 and change and was on the lead by a couple, going 22 and 3, which certainly will make the horse interesting. I think drawing the outside, like I always say, I love outside speed and turf sprints. So, but I'm real curious to see how this race shapes and plays up because we haven't seen this yet. The 5.5, they kind of start almost straight across from me. So this one, they're going to literally be starting there. So it is not much of a run into that turn.
No, it feels like kind of a race that could just blow up the tote board, right? We've seen a few of those.
Yeah, you can mark it down now. Chalk, second chalk. The middle. Don't you feel like that whenever you think the ones that are going to blow up? That's when the formful ones come in. But Merv, you're picking the 5th?
I went 5, 10, 2.
One of my favorite things that we've been having here lately are these mile and 3/16 outer turf course races. To me, they're just fun. It seems like a lot of them are a little cat and mousey down the stretch here, and then the turn is just so big and sweeping here that they're on the turn for a while. And I feel like we've just seen some good races. We had that starter allowance the night where that Redeemed Gentleman came from way down on the outside. I just think we've had some interesting races on this surface, and this one, no exception. A field of 8 in here, but I thought there's kind of just the one bomb, right? Like I felt like there was 6 or 7 that you could make cases for.
Yeah, there was 3 of these races last weekend, and we just didn't see any wire to wires. Tito tonight almost got there, but he did get kind of reeled in.
I mean, I feel like that horse the whole way down the stretch was like giving us the finger because we talked so poorly about.
I thought he was going to hang on.
He was so game.
Got passed very, very late.
So game, yeah.
I looked to the inside horse, Add a Kid in here. Michael Sanchez in the irons. He's one of there's 3 jockeys tied for the lead right now. Michael Sanchez is one of them. Left kind of early on Saturday, banged his ankle in the gate.
Oh, is that what? Yeah, he was. I heard he was off mounts for the second half of the card. Yeah,
but apparently no big deal. He'll be back on Thursday. Add a Kid was 3rd at the starter level last time at Delaware, so I thought considering his running style, as he gets a little more distance, I thought that he would benefit.
I went with it, but he hasn't run good on the turf, this horse, yet. I mean, he ran okay last time, but turf has not been his milieu, but he's really good on an off dirt track. He's 3 for 5, and he's just got 5 career wins from 28 starts, so he would love to have it rained off, but again, not going to be the problem this weekend. I had one of my price plays in here, the 3 Baron, who's getting, got a little bit of class relief from the start two back and didn't run all that great. I mean, literally was last the entire way around at Laurel going around 16. But they went really slow up front. And he did make up significant lengths on the leaders. And so to me, now stretching out, the distance is obviously a little bit of a question, but when I look back 4 starts ago, he went 1.5 miles and finished third, and the winner came back to win, so it was a pretty decent race, and he had a bad start that day.
Yeah, it looks like he got a rough
yeah, and then when he won 1.1 miles at Laurel on a yielding course, that was when he won at a big upset. So I feel like the distance is going to be Barron's friend, and so at 12-1 morning line, I thought he was an okay play.
Well, this goes against your profile, though. 2 wins from 32 starts.
Yeah, well, it's more the non-winners at Two-Land and Maidens that I really worry about. The 5-horse Here's to Mike, I think, is one that folks will get interested in. This horse, unlike the one down the rail, loves the turf. He's in for the tag. He also qualifies the condition because he's been running for some of those low claimers, but he's been pretty damn consistent for an old veteran.
Yeah, very consistent. And Trevor McCarthy was in the irons last time when he was second behind Tito tonight, who came back to run so big in a tougher race. And then also he beat Neo Classic, who also came back to run well. So that was kind of turning out to be kind of a key race. Surprise, surprise.
Is Nigel's Destiny? He's the speed, right?
I thought he was definitely the fastest speed in here.
Yeah. And Fergal I feel like we haven't called Fergal's name in the winner's circle yet this week.
Not yet.
Yeah, he hasn't had the best of meets down here, but he's kind of been sporadic, right? He's just coming down for a couple. What did you make of Prince Tito? I've been beating the Lily Curtin's drum as far as liking her as a trainer. She's had 3 board hittings out of 5 starts. I thought this one with a little class relief, and as I said last week, I think the Gulfstream shippers can do well here.
They have done well here, and often they've done well at a price.
Yeah.
So I thought that this one kind of fit that mold, right? Coming in from Florida, maybe a little off form, but some of the Florida winners have been off form, and they come here and run like a good thing.
Your picks in race 6, Merv?
I went with the 1, 5, and 7.
Let's move on to the 7th, and non-winners the 2 of the year. These have certainly been races that have been interesting to try and predict, and I thought there was Zensland, who's coming in off a win on, was it opening night or was it the second night? I think it was the second night.
Yeah.
It was a real flashy up the rail Daniel Centeno when he had that huge day. That was his 4th winner on the card, and so I was real impressed by that particular run just because I thought the horse looked good. And Dopa Lavoro came back again, was run 9 times at the meet, and he just keeps kind of knocking.
He's run second twice, I believe, since that effort.
And so, but in a way, I think validates and proves that he's kind of at the right spot. I mean, is the leap from non-winners of the year to non-winners of 2 of the year that much? I mean, it's clearly a class jump, but I don't know that it's that much.
No, there's several in here that are making that jump.
Yeah.
And another horse, To Your Health, was actually behind Zensland in that effort and came back to win at the non-winners of 2 in a year. So he jumped in class when he didn't have to and won anyway.
That was the big price, the big upset, right?
Yeah. And he finished that way. He beat 3 of them in there.
Yeah.
Whistle Me Home. Charlie Mops was a big favorite in that race. But I just think that Zensland race was a key race. So even on the jump, I thought he was definitely a standout in here.
The number 9 horse, La Pantalones Fancy. I texted Pete Aiello before the race. I go, hey, you remember this horse? He goes, oh my God, I've seen her run 1,000 times down in South Florida. And she came up here. I thought she kind of fell into a perfect trip last time. And she won, and she was an upset win, and she was game and all that. But I just can't foresee getting a setup that good again.
No, but it was a good race. The horse she beat, Miss Asia Brown, came back to win her next start, and it's her second off the layoff, so I thought she could...
Didn't we like Miss Asia Brown?
I liked her, yeah.
I think we both did, yeah. I'll take credit for that one.
Yeah, I was sad to see La Pantalones Fancy run her down in the lane.
I've heard Fancy and Fancy. I can't remember what I call. I remember calling the horse at Gulfstream Park West back on the 22nd there to a 9th place finish. Whistle Me Home also just missed at this condition to Your Health, and was a bit of a price that day as well. But To Your Health kind of came down the outside and just nabbed him at the wire.
What'd you do with Charlie Mops in here? It's been kind of a money burner in his last couple.
I don't know if he's a victim of because I mean it was kind of a contested front end, but it wasn't like they were flying. I mean 47-2 is decent here, but he was kind of right into contention and then just got swallowed up at the end. And that's been a little bit of the pattern here with these mile turf races, is that the horse on the lead, they'll turn for home, and just looking through the binoculars, I'm thinking, God, that horse is going to be tough. And then it's like they get to the 8th pole, and it's like
late in the race,
they hit a brick wall, and all of a sudden here comes everybody flying from off. So, and I don't know that the 12 hole does it any favors, because it just has to work a little harder to get up to the lead, which is clearly what he wants. But I mean, God, he put together a 4-race winning streak at 4 different tracks. Like, that's pretty awesome for a $5,000 claimer to do that. So, like I said, maybe he just doesn't like Colonial, and maybe we need to also watch how Speed does the first few races, because to me, if it does get a little friendlier to Speed, which it wasn't anti-Speed as much as it was earlier in the meet, but if things are a little friendlier to the up front types, then I think he moves up for sure.
Yeah, I thought that both the inner and outer played pretty fair.
Yeah, this last week was great. Yeah, like it just, from how they looked through the binoculars, to me at least, it looked like horses were not hitting walls as much, which the first couple weeks it seemed like they were. Race 7, your picks, Merv?
I thought it was a tough race, but I tell you what, I'm tempted to single Zen's Land in some of my multi-race wagers, just because I think he was kind of a standout here, and you got to take a stand somewhere.
Okay, and so 5?
5, 9, 12 for me.
The 8th race on the card, we're back at that 5-furlong outer turf distance, so that will be a interesting thing.
Shorter than normal.
Non-winners of 3 lifetime $16,000 runners here, Merv.
Yeah, I looked to the outside, home of the Lombardi. Just 2 visually impressive wins in his last 2 starts.
Yeah.
Both at Laurel. Those Laurel shippers have been tough. He makes his turf debut in here.
That's the question, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he just couldn't have done it easier in his last 2 races. I mean, I just think it just at the $16,000 level, he just looks very, very tough. And I didn't think this race came up that tough either.
And I think with Jamie Ness being as red hot as he is, I think people are going to hammer him.
And Trevor McCarthy, he had a great weekend last weekend.
Yeah, this one's definitely going to be, I think, a significant favorite on this card. There were a few other interesting ones. I mean, obviously, after what that Don Roberson Prairie shipper did the other day, going 5.5, we kind of got to give Secret Lifestyle a little bit of a look, right?
Yeah, definitely. Another speed horse in here.
What about the Mountaineer shipper?
Yeah, I gave him a little bit of a look. Yeah. A little bit of a look. Getting back onto the turf, which he won at the last time. His last race was off the turf.
Going 4.5.
Yeah. Well, this is only a half furlong longer than that.
Well, and they've clearly been wanting to run the horse on turf. It's just they've been getting off at Mountaineer a lot. Yeah, but he's still been running good in those races.
Yeah.
So, but he's been a huge favorite too, which he's not going to be this time. Which leads me to believe he's just going against tougher competition here, which makes sense when you're running for $30,000.
We've seen a couple of Mountaineer shippers win too. I think we saw one on Saturday as well. What'd you think of Rhombus? He's coming in here.
Man,
2 wins in a row.
He made me feel so stupid last time.
Yeah, same. I was right there with you.
Yeah, because I miscalled him in part of the race, but it was one of the things where he was battling early on, and he just totally disposed of who he was battling with and opened up, and kind of won. One of those ones where he won. In the comment says driving. I mean, he still looked pretty damn good at the wire, even though they were closing in a little bit on him.
Didn't look like a 24-1 shot at all.
No, I remember checking the board and going, "He's oh my goodness!" But to me, it looks, at least on paper, like a little bit of a light bulb play. Like he won that one time, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, this is what I'm supposed to do."
And I thought because he opened up so early on that field, maybe he would benefit from the 5 furlong if we're just shortening up just a bit.
I mean, because he's drawn toward the inside, you got to think they're going to send him. I mean, like just total send job.
So.
The 4 horse, I think, is going to go off at a little bit of a lower than 12-1 morning line, at least. But I think that's because of Belterra, right? Like that's just because it's coming from a smaller circuit. But this horse has been really honest, and the speed figures have been pretty high, at least on Briz. So I think this one's going to take a little bit more money.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Coming in from Belterra, I just didn't know what to do.
Well, the great news is, Merv, if you're right, you can call up and say, "Hey, smart guy."
I will do that.
Yeah, I know you will.
Do that. I might just turn the mic on and announce it to everybody.
They're going to the game. Here's so and so coming in at 13-1. All of a sudden, you're like, "I told you."
Here's a good value play for you: the 7 Lacrosse Sticks.
Lacrosse Sticks, all right.
So I thought he looked good before that last race, and I just think that's just too far for him. He's going a mile and 16, gets back to 5 furlongs for this race, which he's only beaten less than 2 lengths at this level, 2 back. So, and that was after a slow start. So
and kind of a bad finish too. I actually went and watched that replay and had a little bit of had to do a little dancing as he was trying to split runners.
Nobody ever bets him. He's always a long shot. I think we'll get good value on him in here as well, but I'll be watching him.
All right. Merv, your picks for the 8th race?
I went 9 to 7.
One of my buddies, his birthday is September 25th, so he always plays 9-2-5. And one night at Emerald, he popped it for $887. He'll just play a $1 straight try his birthday numbers. Anytime there's 9 horses, which obviously isn't all that often anymore at a lot of tracks. But we're on the apron and we saw the 9 and we saw it passing the 5, and there was a bunch of horses down on the rail. We couldn't see who was who, and I told him, I think that might have been the 2 man. We go watch the replay. Deuce came up and just nailed the 5 at the end. And so he's like one of those few people who is up career at the races because he only comes out and he bets $10 a night. So 5.5 on the outer turf to close out this Thursday card, Merv, our more traditional turf sprint in here, and what's more traditional is our big fields. I thought some of the interesting horses were kind of toward the outside. I'm really interested in La Macchiana Grease. Did you like that horse at all?
I did, yeah. Well, I think you must have liked how much ground
I like the ground making up, but what's interesting is the chart shows, I have a note here, it says why replays are important. The chart shows the horse is 7th early on, which it was, but the horse was up in the firing line for the first 1/8 of a mile, and you see at the start it says 3rd, and then he had to kind of get out of there, but it wasn't sawed off or anything like that. I just think the rider didn't want to be in there, and got passed by another horse at about the quarter pole, and then dug in, went flying by that horse, and was really making up some good ground late to only miss by a length and a quarter. I thought it was a terrible trip, and I think that drawing outside eliminates the opportunity of being between horses, and so I really like this horse.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that race. I haven't. I need to go watch it.
But I mean, you have a class dropper in Chessmaster who's been running in those starter allowances. Debut winner for Phil D'Amato of all people. Back in
I didn't know what to do with that horse.
Yeah. Well, Taco, SoCal shippers are hot here, Merv.
Yeah, well, Taco took a while. He did a bit of a roundabout circuit. He was in Florida for a while too.
Okay.
Other than that, there's been no horses who's who was coming straight from California to actually win here.
Mm-hmm.
My top pick in here was the 1 Lunar Image. He finished 4th, beaten less than 2 lengths in kind of a race that we've got a clue about, right? Because Rhombus won that race.
Yeah.
He's running in race 8, so we'll know kind of how he came out of that. We know Dopolavoro came back and ran well out of it again. And then he also faced Tachyon 2-back. Tachyon, and he came back to win the last race on Saturday as well.
And he was between horses for much of the stretch. I thought that was actually a really game race from Tachyon.
Yeah. So he's been facing some good horses that have been coming back to run well, and I think he just really fits at this level. Shout
out trainer Kieran McGee, who I said on our pre-race show that his horse was 1 for 28, and I would never want to play horses like that. And the horse just airmailed. I mean, like came rolling by.
We deserve that.
Oh man, I remember the pie of humble was being served. So Kieran McGee, salute. So but anybody else you wanted to chat about here in the 9th race?
No, but I'm definitely going to go back and watch that.
Oh, buddy, I'm telling you, La Macchiana Grease. I want Beem Nation to make that horse. Well, it just like I said, it's to me it was a great illustration of how the running lines can only show you so much because you see the steady to the 16th, which to me maybe the difference between the horse maybe not running 4th and running 3rd or something, and maybe being only beaten 3/4 of a length. I don't think it cost the horse the race, but to me the being close up and having to drop back early, getting past and then re-rallying, that showed me a lot. So very excited about that. And, to some degree, this horse is one that's trying to find its level, right? It was dropping that day and got bet that day. It was 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
continues.
Now another little bit of a drop. And, a drop here to Colonial for 10,000 makes sense because the purses are so good. And, you're going to run for 25 grand. So, okay, if somebody claims you get 3, 4, 5 or 6,000 less than you would have. But
what do you think Chessmaster was going to go off at? Because I thought he's run some clunkers, but they're really all of his clunkers are on the dirt. So if you can forgive all of his dirt races, which is going to be 4 of his
betting public in general are not that forgiving. It's very recency biased, right? But I just thought that the class droppingness. I remember I called this horse a Monmouth, and it was a stake. And went off 60-1 in a 6-horse field, so it was obviously. But I mean, like Sambaye and the Big S just ran in the Alan Jerkins. Mm-hmm. Last weekend, Sambaye won a stake, or I think won a grass race at Saratoga. So those were deep, deep waters. And so I just think with the class drop, because they certainly bet the horse next time out in starter 25. So I think the horse will take some money for sure.
I like him, and I think he might offer a little bit of value because I think people are going to see those blowouts that he ran on dirt and think, I don't really want a piece of that.
Yeah, those were I think they're just up against better horses. I mean, he certainly hasn't beaten a lot of horses in his career, a lot of back of the pack.
But on turf, his speed figures are pretty good. They're noticeably better. So getting back to the turf, I think, will be good for him.
Your picks in race 9, Merv?
I went with the 1, 9, and 10. All right. But I may move that 10 up if I watch the replay.
Don't. You're going to kill our price, Merv. don't tell anybody. Anyways, 9-race card for Thursday. Very excited for it. Of course, 10 races tomorrow for the Friday show. We'll have that up on our little YouTube page here shortly after this video is uploaded, and then we will have the Virginia Derby card posted late Thursday night on the YouTube. And they're on my YouTube channel, so just look for Jason Beem. Hit that little subscribe button. That's I got a lot of fun videos on there. I put my little Laurel trip up there. Come on.
Seen them all?
Yeah. All right. We will see you guys, though, back at the races tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your Thursday. Good luck.